Ever been underestimated? I mean, think about that for a moment. Like, have you ever had something that you knew was amazing, but people just didn't recognize it? And we sing this song, "Oh, little town of Bethlehem," like as one of our Christmas carols. And we have this picture in our mind of this quaint little town that's kind of like out of a painting, with the rolling hills, there's sweet imagery. And the truth is that it's the not so little town of Bethlehem. See, the word Bethlehem, the name Bethlehem literally means house of bread, house of bread. And I don't know about you, but I remember driving through Orlando when I was a teenager. I don't know when the bread factory or bread whatever company closed down there, but there was one right off the highway, and it didn't matter what was going on. But when you drove past it, you could smell the bread, and it was for a good distance. It was for a good distance. It would just fill up the car. It didn't matter what was happening. Like, oh, there it is. We're by the bread. We're by the bread. And I think that there is something really beautiful about God that we get around him. There's something sweet and satisfying. There's something different and amazing about him. And I think we tend to underestimate him until we're in his presence. We tend to underestimate what he can do and what he wants to do. And I find it so fitting that Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Micah chapter 2, chapter 5, verse 2. He makes mention of this is the messianic prophecy about Jesus. But you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah, you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah. That was actually the old name of the city, but it was shifted over to Bethlehem, are only a small village among all the people of Judah, yet a ruler of Israel whose origins are in the distant past will come from you on my behalf. And this is the prophet that God is saying, hey, I'm sending basically the Messiah through here. This is going to be the place, and it's it's a small village, but it's powerful significance. And Jesus calls himself the bread of life. He calls himself the manna that came down from heaven. And he is. But the challenge is just like the little town being underestimated, we tend to underestimate God. In that when we're not in his presence, we're always in his presence. Let's not get it messed up, he's always around, but we're not aware of his presence, but we're not seeking him, and we're not aware of his presence. It's easy to begin to take for granted his promises, to act like, maybe it's not as great, to minimize the promise that he is the only one that can satisfy our souls. He is the bread of life, born in the house of bread. And we need to recognize this, because I don't know about you, but I think the temptation is that we tend to turn the other way. We tend to find other things to satisfy us. We tend to, misappropriate and misprioritize our passions and our desires and our cravings. And we tend to turn to the empty calories of this world, so to speak, the bread that doesn't satisfy. In Jeremiah chapter 2, I think it's verse 13, God tells the people of Israel through Jeremiah, my people have committed two sins. They've neglected my well, my cistern. They dug for themselves cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. They dug for themselves these wells that really don't satisfy. They don't hold water. And I think we tend to go to fill ourselves on this junk food, of this world, that it may taste good now, but it does not satisfy. And I remember there was one, I think it was a Thanksgiving. There was one Thanksgiving where I actually ate McDonald's before having dinner, Thanksgiving dinner at my mom's house. And it was like a late lunch. It was like we were going to meet at like 5, I think it was, for dinner. And I couldn't wait. Or at least I said I couldn't wait. So I ended up eating garbage. And I couldn't eat all that I wanted to eat. And I think that we can get so full of the world, even though it doesn't satisfy us, we get so full of it that we get around the life-giving, the bread of life. There's no room in us for it. And I would challenge us and myself and you, like, what are you filling your life with? Are you feasting on the things that satisfy? Are you going to other breads, the breads that don't satisfy, the empty calories, like when you go to Olive Garden or Carrabba's and they give you the tasty bread and they just want to fill you up because that's just the cheap stuff, And is that what we're doing? And then when the meal comes, we really can't finish it. Does it ruin your appetite for God? Ah, man, that's a sobering challenge. But see, Christmas isn't just about the warm fuzzies. Christmas is about a reminder that Jesus came as he promised, and he's coming again as he promised. And we want to prepare our hearts. We want to prepare our hearts. We want to prepare room for him, that there's always room for him. We're always eagerly anticipating him, ready for him. I don't want to be full of the junk of this world. I don't want to be full of it. I want to be hungry for God. And I want to, and the beautiful thing about this, and I'll wrap up with this idea. And Jesus says this. He says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." And the idea is of hunger and thirst, that you're hungry and you're still hungry. You're thirsty and you're still thirsty. There's just like I satiate that appetite, that craving, but I want more. And I think that when we hunger and thirst for God, he fills us and we want more of him. He fills us and we want more of him. He fills us and we want more of him, because we can't ever get enough of him. And I just think there's something beautiful about that. And if you haven't experienced that kind of craving, man, I would just tell you that just block out some time. Maybe create a day or 2 or 3 where you just fast and you just say, God, I want you. At the beginning of the year, we're going to have a 21-day fast. And I would just challenge us, man, you don't need to wait for that. Like if you're in a place in your life, in your relationship with God, but you don't really feel that hunger, just take a few days before the holiday party get too crazy. Just block out a day or 2 or 3 that you can just, fast and seek God and ask him to stir a hunger for you. And here's how you cultivate a hunger for God. You feast on God, right? You open his word and you feast on his word. You begin to pray and worship, and you pray and worship. You just keep it up, all right? And you run out of things to say, you just sit with him. Sing some songs. Invite him into your day. And the more that we will feast on God, the hungrier we are for him. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. And we are filled, and we're still hungry for more of him. And there's something so beautiful about that. So I would encourage you. Let's put aside the empty calories of this world. It tastes good, but don't really satisfy. And let's not dig up empty wells, broken wells that can't hold water, that can't really satisfy. Let's turn to him and invite him to stir a hunger in our heart for him, and push away the things that would try to edge out our hunger for him, and make it so it ruins our appetite for God. Let's cut those things out of our lives. Let's focus on him, and let us experience the fulfillment that is incomparable. Let us experience the joy that's unspeakable and full of glory. Let us experience the peace that surpasses all understanding. Let's experience the love that's extravagant. It's too much. Let's experience God like that. Stir up that hunger in us for him by putting away the junk and feasting on the bread of life. God bless you guys. I pray you have an inspired day, that you live inspired, and have an inspired